We're celebrating you this morning.
Our birthdays are coming up next.
And she made a friend in every state in the U.S. Author Sherry Lee is here to tell us about her adventure. Kelly?
And we have another
52 weeks, 50 states, and lots of life-changing conversations. Author and life coach Sherry Lee is back from an adventure that took her all across the United States.
All across the U.S. So Sherry met up with 50 women in all 50 states to find the things that unite us. She documented her 50 states project on social media and says even if we have different beliefs and backgrounds, having a conversation can lead to a meaningful connection, and those kind of connections can change the world. Sherry says she got the idea for the project after being diagnosed with breast cancer back in 2017, and since then she says she's tried to live purposefully and has been exploring what friendships actually mean and how they're important to our own health. I featured Sherry's trip in June when she made a stop here in Pennsylvania. She was in Phoenixville where she met up with her childhood friend, Deandra Campbell. Sherry and Dee Dee grew up together out in Seattle. So some of the women she met up with, she knew. Others were strangers, who I'm thinking are now friends.
Yes.
In some way.
So 50, are you tired?
You know, I just finished up at the end of September, and obviously still traveling because I live in Seattle, and here I am in Pennsylvania. But no, it's been amazing. The energy has been kept up by the women I've met.
So this is an incredible journey. This took a long time for you to complete, and you said you found Seattle is not the easiest place to travel to every state from in the country.
Yeah.
But this was important for you to do.
Absolutely. And, you know, all of these women were either strangers or women that I've had very little to no contact with, like the woman in Pennsylvania, little to no contact with in the last 40 years. So it was great to reconnect. And yes, this was important. I'm adopted, but my parents who adopted me were born in Seattle, but because of their Japanese descent, they were interned during World War II. There's a generation between us, so they're the age of my friends' grandparents. But because of this, my dad especially felt that we weren't necessarily welcome across the U.S. And I wanted to rewrite that belief for myself and for my kids and go with the belief that I'm welcome everywhere. And honestly, with this journey, that's what I found.
Did you feel welcome? Did you feel embraced by these women?
I did, absolutely. And their communities as well. And, you know, to be honest, growing up in the Pacific Northwest, and I've never traveled the U.S., I was a little nervous going down to the South, for example. And, man, I love the South. That Southern hospitality is a real thing. I love my doors being open for me, I got to tell you.
You know, and you met with 50 different women, and I would imagine some had very different beliefs than you have.
Yes. In fact, I'm just getting kind of the demographics now because, like, politics and religion didn't always come up. It sometimes did. And what I found in this journey, while in the beginning I was really looking for a connection, as towards the end, I was celebrating our differences, and my mindset changed in where when I saw or learned that somebody had a different belief maybe, I became curious as opposed to putting up the wall that we kind of all got used to for self-protection. So that was really interesting to me, how somebody's differences, when you change your mindset and think of it as, oh, this is really curious, it makes conversations a lot easier and, in fact, really interesting.
And you learn something about yourself, about them, and that helps you grow as a person.
Yes, and these women, it wasn't just a one-time thing. We're texting each other, and I'm in constant contact. And now that this project is done, I'm looking forward to nourishing these relationships even further.
And when we think about friendship, sometimes we think about a best friend or someone who's been in our life for a while. But you've studied friendship for a little bit now. What did you learn about friendship from meeting all of these women?
One, people are really open when you ask them to sit down. It's a little uncomfortable, but it gets easier to talk to strangers as you practice. In fact, through this project, I started talking to, like, the Uber driver a little bit more and the people I'm meeting at the hotels. And there are places in this project where I was feeling a little homesick, where I had no anchor. It wasn't like Pennsylvania where I knew this woman, from age 1 to 5. So I had a bit of an anchor. There are places where I had no anchor. And getting a little homesick, I found that even the casual friendships with the person at the hotel really helped to boost my spirit. And it told me the importance of casual conversations to fight loneliness, which has been an epidemic in the U.S.
How long were these conversations, and what were the different settings? I see you have coffee. Was it all time during the day, or kind of what's the scene with these convos?
You know, it really depended on how much time I had in a place. So sometimes I would have a half a day, sometimes I'd have a couple of days. So it went anywhere from usually 2 hours to, I gotta say, in Denver, I think we spent maybe 6 hours together. But you know, even with that time frame, it didn't quite make that much of a difference between 2 and 6 hours. Rhode Island, I had a very small period of time, and that's a place I just really connected and want to go back to. So I found the time wasn't as much of an issue as just that intention of sitting down with someone.
And you spoke specifically to women, because we can have friends of all genders, but you decided specifically to focus on women. Why women, and what do you think that kind of friendship means?
You know, I decided, well, one, because I was traveling by myself for a lot of this, and that just felt more comfortable for me, because I was reaching out to strangers and saying, hey, do you want to meet with me? And I'd send them all my information, basically, except for maybe my Social Security number, because it was a little different, right, to go out. But I coach women for the most part, and I think there's something really strong about women friendships, and friendships of all ages. I had somebody in their 20s and somebody close to their 70s, and I learned something from each of them.
And this is all going to come together in a book that you're working on. You're hoping for a release next September.
Yes.
So we'll keep tabs on you so that we can do that. But you also do some life coaching via Zoom from your home in Seattle. So we have the information for you if you're interested. You can go to inimperfectlyperfectlife.com. That's Sherry's website. We'll have that link to our website as well. And you can share your wisdom about friendship with a whole lot of people that way.
Yes, thank you. And it's so great to be here when it's like summer in Philadelphia, at least. It's so warm here in October.
It's not always. It's about to get cold. Well, you know, from Seattle. So, well, thank you so much, Sherry, for being here, and we're glad that you developed all these friendships.
Thank you.
It's a great story.
Thanks, Sherry.
Back in a moment.